Greetings and salutations, everybody. I'm back again. I know, it's twice in one day. Go figure. But, this one's a little personal. This one's I'm gonna open up a little bit. It's kind of like a public service announcement, I guess. But, because this is kind of important. I am a paramedic. I've been a paramedic for over 12 years. I've been in EMS for over 17 years. And I have been diagnosed with PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Most first responders have it. Most soldiers have it. And then there are lots of other people that have it as well. Now, most first responders and most soldiers are undiagnosed, and they find other ways to cope. Me, I am on my way to my therapy appointment to deal with my PTSD, which is the right way to deal with it. Not drinking, not drugs, gambling, or what other ways people find to cope with stuff. There are things that I have seen on this job that I can't unsee. There are things that I've seen on this job that most people couldn't handle. And it's not that I've seen it and I can't handle it, or because I can still do my job. But I call them ghosts. And I'm not talking about spirits going boo or whatever. I'm talking, the reason why I call them ghosts is because they haunt me. Images of patients or images of incidents will reoccur in my head, sometimes for days, and I can't get them out. And so I call them ghosts because they're haunting me like a ghost. That's my choice of words. It's not the clinical version of things. I don't know what the clinical version is. But look, if you're a first responder, if you're a soldier coming back from the war, get checked for PTSD. Get checked for post-traumatic stress disorder. Talk to somebody. Don't talk to the bottom of a bottle. Don't talk to drugs. Talk to a licensed therapist. Talk to someone that can help you work yourself through this. Because it's important. Many first responders end up taking their own lives. I remember one, and if I only would have known beforehand, I had a call for an ex-cop who shot himself in his closet. And we found out later that his body, which we didn't disturb because it may have been a crime scene, but his body that we verified was deceased was also laying on explosives. So I'm damn lucky I didn't get blown up with the guy, or I didn't get blown up, period. But, you know, I have seen too much suicide. Sometimes I've seen, I remember a firefighter who became a recurring patient. He was still a firefighter, but he was also an alcoholic. One of my ex-partners, and he was a great guy. He taught me a lot. He was also one of my preceptors when I was going to become a paramedic, and he taught me an awful lot. He's an alcoholic. He told me that he actually won Paramedic of the Year award because they were having to transfer two very critical patients a good distance, and so there were two patients in two different ambulances, and he was the only paramedic available. So what they would do is he would actually jump from ambulance to ambulance back and forth on the trip down. So they'd pull over so he can switch ambulances so he can monitor both patients at the same time. And he won Paramedic of the Year award for that. And he was drunk. I don't condone it. I'm not saying that he is obviously a high-functioning alcoholic, but he's an alcoholic. And I've met many first responders, firemen, police officers, paramedics, EMTs, that have become alcoholics because they try and drown the ghosts so they don't have to see them. And now some of your ghosts may not even be just from calls. you have a relationship that goes bad, which is very difficult. A lot of first responders have a hard time with relationships. I mean, relationships as in significant others, because of what we see, and it's hard to describe it to our family members. I actually got my wife into EMS after we met. She became an EMT for a while, but she has some physical ailments that made it difficult for her to do the job, so she had to give it up. But some of my best calls ever were with her, just because it was cool running calls with her. But again, you gotta seek the help. I'm seeking the help. I'm trying to get better because I'm trying to save my relationship as best as I can. I'm trying to help the people around me. I'm trying to help myself. I don't like feeling certain ways. I don't like the ghosts. I don't like the irritability that comes with certain things. So I'm definitely trying to help myself, and I'm doing it the right way. I'm not an alcoholic. I don't do drugs. Well, except what they prescribe to me. But I'm trying. I'm definitely trying, and I hope that by me opening up and me saying that, yes, I have PTSD, I have post-traumatic stress disorder, and I'm getting help for it. I'm hoping that others, especially other first responders and EMS personnel, because I'll admit I'm partial to EMS personnel because I am one. I'm hoping that this helps them realize, going, all right, I don't need to be ashamed of feeling this way. I don't need to feel afraid of asking for help. Nobody's going to look down on me. It's not like it used to be. When I first started in EMS, if you told people you had, depression or bipolar or anything, you had some psychological ailment, the ridicule you'd get, or the distance that they would give you, because we're picking these types of people up, and we understand that some of them are a little off their rocker, and we have very dark humor to cope, at least in EMS. And so when you're one of these type of patients, it makes it difficult. So all I'm trying to tell you is, look, the moniker isn't like it used to be. If you're having issues, go talk to somebody. Every company has an employee assistance program where they let you talk to people, and it doesn't cost you anything for the employee assistance program. After that, you use your insurance, if you have any, to help cover the costs of regular therapy. But you need to talk to somebody. Even if it's just critical stress debriefing after a critical call, you need to get it out, because the one thing they don't show you in the TV shows, of all this EMS and fire, and I mean, right now Chicago Fire is a big popular show, and they show EMS type calls. One of the things they don't show you is, after these critical calls or messed up calls, they don't show you the crews getting debriefed. They don't show you the crews handling stuff. I mean, everybody always seems happy and able to cope with these calls. That's not entirely true. A lot of people cannot have a hard time coping. They just become irritable because they can't get these thoughts out of their heads. They can't get these images out of their heads. There's a new show called 911, 9-1-1. I think if you try and look it up, Angela Bassett is one of the starring people. She plays a cop. But one of the young firefighters on the show, who's only been doing it for 4 months, he's at the top of a roller coaster. He's trying to get somebody to give him his hand so he can save their life, and the guy lets go and he plummets to his death. And this kid's carrying this around and having a very hard time. And his way of coping isn't always the best, but he eventually got through it. But I mean, they're trying to show a little bit at least. They're showing that it's not all sunshine and roses. We're not all just heroes that come out and go, there's no capes flapping or whatever. You know, we see some very horrific things. We see people die. We see people take their last breath in life. And no matter what we do, we can't always get them to start. We can't get it back. We can't get them back. We can't bring them back to life. You know, I'll admit I've had my share. I've resurrected people from the dead, and you thought only Jesus could do that. I have brought people back that they were technically dead, and I have done everything I could in my arsenal of EMSness, of medicine, which is the same stuff they do in the hospital anyways. But I brought them back, so they were dead. Now they're not dead. I've had a few people manage to leave the hospital still alive. Unfortunately, I wish I had more of those type people than I do people that I may have gotten pulses back on that never left the hospital, that never regained consciousness. You know, the only consolation I have for that is at least I managed to buy the family a little bit more time to be able to say goodbye if I could. It's not easy what we do. It's not easy what we see. But somebody's got to do it. And the strongest and the bravest and the finest of us all endure this. And we all probably end up with PTSD. So it's not a bad thing if you go and get help. You don't. If you're afraid of it, then don't tell people. You know, tell your family that you're gonna go get help. I bet you they'll be very appreciative. But I don't know what else to tell you. PTSD is very serious. Many people with PTSD have taken their own lives because of the stress that comes from these haunting images that they can't get rid of. That's why I call them ghosts, because they're haunting images you can't get rid of. And sometimes my ghosts have gotten better. I still see them from time to time. I still have issues with them from time to time. And I try and tell some of the young people that start off in this business, you know, because I remember knowing nothing. I remember being green and fresh and starting out. So it's... I try and tell them to be careful. I try and tell them to seek help. I try and teach them as best as I can. So, that was my public service announcement. That was my, please try and get some help. You're not alone. There are many first responders and people and soldiers and everybody that have PTSD, and you need to get the help. It's better than finding the help at the bottom of a bottle or the bottom of a pill bottle. Get help. Talk to somebody. Talk to a professional. I don't know what else to say. You're not alone. I admit to it. I admit I have it. And I'm seeking help to make not just my life better, but the lives around me better. So, I hope that you'll go seek help. I hope that you will find better ways to handle it. I hope that some of you will find out if you truly have PTSD and then get treated for it appropriately instead of trying to self-medicate. I don't know what else I can say. I mean, I can start quoting clinical terms and things like that. You know, it's at times can be debilitating. At times it can be very frustrating. Times it can be very scary. Some of these images that we can't get out of our heads, and you know what? It doesn't make you any less of a person. It doesn't make you any less of a person, because most people couldn't handle what we've seen and what we do. And yet we still manage to joke about what we see and do half the time. And I'm sure most people would be appalled by the jokes that we make. But you know what? It's what gets us through. So get yourself through. Get yourself help. Please. From one first responder, from one paramedic to another, please get the help for yourself. Your family will thank you. You will thank you. You will learn to feel better again. You will learn to be able to deal with your ghosts and and you'll be able to continue on, even if it means you have to leave the field. But many times you can go on without having to leave the field. So please go seek help. Alright, that's it for me at this point. I don't know what else to say, so I'm going to leave it there. As I said, please go get help. And you're not alone. There are many of us out there, and many of us that seek help the right way. So, you're not alone. Go get help. Alright, try and have a good day, which I know is difficult if you have PTSD. Some days are better than others. But it doesn't always have to be that way. Go get the help. Alright. Try and have a good day, as I said. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.